That's okay though. For being so young, you're very, very smart. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So keep up the good work, man, and stay flat, okay?
Okay, I'm a flat earther. I'm a flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther. I'm a flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther. I'm a flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther. I'm a flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther. I was like, what is this about? What?
That's okay though. For being so young, you're very, very smart. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So keep up the good work, man, and stay flat, okay?
Okay, I'm a flat earther.
Up for sound bites. This is awesome.
Alright, everyone. Welcome back to Anti-Religious Scripture Study with me, Karen B., and of course, Just Jack, Flat Earth.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Sorry for making y'all wait a couple weeks. I've been overtaken by my employment. My employment gets in the way of my work sometimes. So um, go ahead and get into the disclaimer just to get it out of the way. Just Jack's disclaimer. To the religious, if you believe it's wrong to study the scripture outside of your religion or denomination, if you believe your religious leaders or church fathers are incapable of having inherited anti-scriptural traditions of men, if you've already made up your mind about scripture, including the scripture shouldn't be studied at all, then this stream is not for you. To others, if you are open-minded to others' opinions, if you haven't made up your mind about scripture, if you've been turned off to religion but believe there's truth in scripture that may have been changed or hidden by religion, if you live according to scripture and like to dig in and discover more, then this stream is for you. We are looking at scripture in the original language using concordances or dictionaries for words as well as context from a non-religion perspective. We will as well have life experience discussion. We are not here to argue with others about theology or doctrine by the traditions of men, including Catholicism, Christianity, Islam, or Judaism. We will be discussing the importance of origins and show how religions contradict the scriptures. All right, there we go. Get that. And just to give people a refresher, we are in, excuse me, one second. We are in the end of the last book of the Torah, and this is the last speech given by Moshe before Yisrael crosses over because Moshe is about to die. And in this last chapter that we read, he's speaking of a song that you should remember and that you should always have in remembrance to remind Israel what they came out of, what they're going into, what's the possibility of losing these things. And here it says Moshe wrote this song the same day and taught it to the children of Israel. So this is when it was written down. And then the next chapter actually has it, and it is very poetic because it is a song, and therefore a majority, not not just a lot, but a majority of the words I had to translate from scratch because even though we've gone through Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and 31 chapters of Deuteronomy, there were all new words because they were using it slightly different than they've ever been used before. So, and some words are only found one time in the entire Old Testament. That includes like the prophets all the way to Zechariah, Malachi, all the way through the Old Testament. It only shows up this one place in this one chapter. And of course, the only way you can define those words is by looking into the root words, which is the whole uh, content of what I'm trying to show is that these words are not just like made up definitions based on doctrine or theology. These words actually have meaning in their root. So that's how I had to go through the process. So I worked, I probably worked, I would say, a total of 10 hours on this chapter. And yeah, that's a lot. It's substantial. So, um, please bear with me that we're not going to actually like stop at every chapter and say, hey, even though it's translated this way, this is what it really means. I'm not going to be able to do that because I had no time to go through it. I only had time to translate it. So, but as always, the translation will be here on the side. And if you want a translation of this song, um, you can email me at justjackflatearth@gmail.com and I'll just cut out this chapter and give it to you with the hard translation, and then you can dig it in yourself and have fun with it. I found it quite interesting even as I was translating through it. I was like, wow, that's interesting. So we'll see how it goes.
All right.
All right.
All right. Okay. Give ear, O heavens, and let me speak, and hear, O earth, the words of my mouth.
Okay, so I said I wasn't going to do this, but I'm going to do this. There is a difference between word and there is a difference between speak. Yeah, you can see them right here. There's the two different ones. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Let my instruction fall as rain, my speech drop down as dew, as fine rain on the tender plants, and as showers on the grass.
Okay, so this is being written by Moshe, and he's talking about his instruction, and that his instruction comes from Yehovah. All right, 32.
For I proclaim the name of Yehovah, ascribe the greatness to our Elohim.
Okay.
The rock, his work is perfect, for all his ways are right ruling, an El of truth and without unrighteousness, righteous and straight is he.
And for those of you who are familiar with the New Testament, you'll recognize the term the rock. That is one of the stories. Oh my gosh, I forgot the word. Parables. That Yeshua told about, like, you if you build your house on sand, it won't stand, but if you build your house on the rock, it will last forever, right? And
Mhm.
here we're talking about the rock being the creator himself. Okay, 32:5.
A twisted and crooked generation has corrupted itself, their blemish. They are not his children.
Okay.
Do you do this to Yehovah, O foolish and unwise people? Is he not your father who bought you, who created you and established you? Bought you.
So what, yeah, I was gonna go ahead and explain that. So he bought them by removing them from slavery,
Mm,
right? So he another word for that is ransomed. He ransomed them out of slavery.
mm,
Um, but I also point out, like, all the time, that this O is just added in there by the English folks.
mm-hmm.
Like, oh, foolish people is just foolish, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Well, I guess maybe because it's the song.
yep, yep. They want to flourish it a little bit. You'll see that a lot in the Psalms. There's a lot of O,
Yeah.
you know, O Yehovah or O Yah. So, all right.
Remember the days of old. Consider the years of many generations. Ask your father and let him show you, your elders and let them say to you.
Okay, so remember, this song is for them to remember and recant when they cross over. So the generations that came out of Egypt are not going to be able to tell you anything because all of that generation died out in the desert, right?
Mm-hmm.
Save Caleb and Joshua, right? So this is that's why this song is here. So it's a reminder, just like the Moedim are reminders and the commandments are reminders and stuff like that. All right, 38.
When the Most High gave the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, when he set the boundaries of the peoples according to the number of the children of Israel.
And there is claim that this is a prophecy that is multi-leveled, going back to from when they left the Ark to the Tower of Babel to before they went into Egypt, and then when they came out of Egypt. All right.
For the portion of Jehovah is his people, Yaakov his allotted inheritance.
Okay.
He found him in a wilderness and in a wasted howling desert. He encompassed him, he made him understand, he watched over him as the apple of his eye.
Okay. So the reason that there's a footnote here is there's multiple locations where we get the term apple of his eye. Apple is just a new English term. It's the darkness of his eye, the pupil of his eye,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's where, all of our intake is in the pupil. All right.
As an eagle stirs up its nest, flutters over its young, spreading out its wings, taking them up, bearing them on its wings.
Okay, so this flutters is the same as the spirit hovered over the face of the deep, which I would also compare to the spirit descended like a dove on Yeshua when he was being mikvahd, and like tongues of fire in Acts chapter 2. It's a description of the unseen existence being manifested to where you can see a residual. All right.
All right. Yehovah alone led him, and there was no strange mighty one with him. He made him ride in the heights of the earth, and he ate the fruit of the fields, and he made him draw honey from the rock and oil from the flinty rock.
So as they were going through the desert, they didn't have any resources yet. The resources came from the rock, or they would come from the dew, or whatever.
Curds from the cattle and milk of the flock, with fat of lambs, and rams of the breed of Bashan, and goats with the choicest wheat, and you drank wine, the blood of grapes.
Okay.
But Run grew fat and kicked. You grew fat, you grew thick, you are covered with fat. So he forsook Eloah, who made him, and scorned the rock of his deliverance.
All right. So this is a poetic term talking about Israel in that when they came out, they became righteous. They went the straight path, right? But then they got spoiled by the blessings of Jehovah, and then they forsake him, right? Oh, we're good. We don't need the creator. He's the reason you have what you have. But this happens to a lot of people. It's happened to me before where I got very comfortable and I lost track of the creator. Now, this was in my younger years, of course, but it happens. And a lot of times people don't pay attention to the creator until stuff gets tough. And then they're like, please help me. Now you're paying attention to him.
Mm-hmm.
And scorn the rock of his deliverance. This is also, some people claim this as a prophecy pointing towards Yeshua as well. And it's also about the curse where Moshe struck the rock, and that's why he's not going into the promised land. And so, yeah, there's a lot of connections here. It's very poetic, very interesting stuff. All right, 32:16.
They moved him to jealousy with foreign matters. With abominations they provoked him.
Obviously, the foreign matters is like bringing in strange idols and other worships other than the creator.
They slaughtered to demons, not Eloah, mighty ones they did not know, new ones who came lately, which your fathers did not fear.
Okay, it's not actually the literal translation of this is the breastises. Okay, they slaughtered to the breastises because there was a goat deity with many breastises. All right.
You neglected the rock who brought you forth, and forgot the El who fathered you. And Jehovah saw and despised, because of the provocation of his sons and his daughters.
Okay.
And he said, let me hide my face from them, let me see what their end is, for they are a perverse generation, children in whom there is no trusting.
So it's basically like, okay, if they're going to rebel, let me back off and let me see what the end of their rebellion is.
Mm-hmm. They made me jealous by what is not El. They provoked me with their worthless matters, but I make them jealous by those who are no people. I provoke them with a foolish nation.
Okay.
For a fire was kindled in my wrath, and burns to the bottom of Sheol, and consumes the earth and its increase, and sets on fire the foundations of mountains.
Okay, at the bottom, Sheol. Sheol means the grave.
I gather evils upon them, I use up my arrows upon them.
Okay, so it's now going to be dysfunction upon them. And this is, this goes against the belief that Yah only brings blessings and loveliness and happiness, and that um the invisible bad guy is who brings all the bad stuff, right? But no, if you're not connected with Yah and you're starting to rebel, then bad stuff's going to happen to you so that you turn back. 32:24.
Wasted by scarcity of food, and consumed by heat with bitter destruction, and the teeth of beasts I send upon them, with the poison of serpents of the dust.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, it's interesting. This word serpents, this is the only time that it shows up in all of the scripture. That was a weird word. It's a recoil, right? Like if you're afraid of something, you kind of like, go like this, that it's the
Mm-hmm.
same word. I think in one place it was translated as worm and another place as serpent. All right.
And it's weird too, because serpents would have venom, not poison.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not like specifically poison. It's the boiling water of recoil of the dust.
Huh.
So that is the literal translation. Now, what that means, maybe you could interpret it this way.
Hmm.
That's what I'm saying. Like some people may want to dig into this more, and you know, I say more power to you. There's a lot here, a lot to unpack.
The sword bereaves from the outside, and fear from within, both young man and maiden, nursing child with the man of gray hairs.
Okay.
I said I should blow them away, I should make the remembrance of them to ease from among men, to cease from among men.
Yeah, cease, and that cease is the same as Shabbat. The remembrance to Shabbat from among men.
If I did not fear the enemy's taunt, lest their adversaries misunderstand, lest they say, our hand is high, and Jehovah has not done all this.
So what Yah's saying here is he's like, I can't let them go to absolute ruin because then they'll just mock me. Like, oh, they didn't have a good deity, we're stronger than them, so lest they have that and this is a repetition of early back in Exodus even where they were saying that like if we're destroyed in the desert, then the enemies are going to just say, see, they went out to follow their deity that led them into the wilderness to die. So he has to make sure that doesn't happen. All right.
For they are a nation lost to counsel, and there is no understanding in them.
I found this interesting that this word counsel is they're a loss to trees. Trees.
Trees.
Interesting. Yep.
Huh.
Yep. So counsel is a trees amongst men.
If they were wise, they would understand this. They would consider their latter end. How would one chase 1,000 and two put 10,000 to flight unless their rock has sold them and Jehovah had given them up?
Because as we've read in earlier episodes, like if you're blessed, one would chase 1,000 and two chasing 10,000, but if you're cursed, it would be the opposite. It would go against you.
For their rock is not like our rock, even our enemies are judges. Their vine is of the vine of Sodom and of the fields of Amorah. Their grapes are grapes of gall, and their clusters are bitter.
Yes. So Sodom and Gomorrah always call back to the judgment of Yah, because they were wiped out
Mm-hmm.
in one moment. Sorry, 1 second. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Their wine is the poison of serpents and the fierce venom of cobras.
Okay, so earlier we read Poison of Serpents, right? And here
Mm.
we're reading Poison of Serpents again, but it's a different call out. So this is the boiling of the Tenanine, Tananim. Um, this is that unknown creature that we read about way early back in Genesis 1 when they were talking about the creation,
Mm-hmm.
that these creatures that were giant and they dwelled in water and they dwelled on land and they had breastises and they flew and they had scales and like creatures that we don't know, and that's what that was talking about.
Hmm.
And then this is not necessarily cobra, this is a wide mouth possible serpent, and it's the cruelty of the wide mouth is what that one says.
Hmm.
All right.
It is not stored up with me, sealed up among. Is it not stored up with me, sealed up among my treasures? Vengeance is mine and repayment at the time their foot slips, for near is the day of their calamity, and the matters prepared are hastening to them.
Okay, so this is they're smoldering like like when a fire is dead, right? Little smoke left. And then repayment is the same word as shalom, completion.
Hmm. For Jehovah rightly rules his people, and has compassion on his servants, when he sees that their power is gone, and there is no one remaining shut up or at large.
Okay? So before they're completely wiped out, he saves them again. Yep.
And he shall say, Where are the mighty where are their mighty ones, the rock in whom they sought refuge?
Yeah, where's those idols that they left me for? Yep.
Who ate the fat of their slaughterings and drink the wine of their drink offering. Let them arise and help you. Let it be a hiding place for you.
Yeah, if they're so good, why aren't they helping you? Yeah.
See now that I am He, and there is no Elohim besides me. I put to death and I make alive. I have wounded and I heal, and from my hand no one delivers.
There you go. Good, evil, death, life.
Yeah. For I lift my hand to the heavens and shall say, as I live forever, if I have ever sharpened my flashing sword, and my hand takes hold on judgment, I shall return vengeance to my enemies and repay those who hate me.
And lifting his hand to the heavens. This is Yah swearing on himself.
I mean, I
That's a
guess.
pretty that's a pretty bold swear.
I make my arrows drunk with blood, and my sword devours the flesh, with the blood of the slain and the captives from the long-haired enemy chiefs.
Okay.
O nations, acclaim his people, for he avenges the blood of his servants and returns vengeance to his adversaries, and shall pardon his land, his people.
Okay, so this is what this is saying is the people are taken into captivity for the sake of the land. And if they don't leave the land, that they'll be wiped out until they get right. And then they come back, which is what happened in oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Hosea. No. Sorry. Nehemiah and where is it? I'm so sorry. I brain farted there.
Mm.
Um It's Nehemiah, Ezra. I didn't even see it. It just popped in my head finally. Oh my gosh, there it is right there. So Ezra and Nehemiah, this is where this becomes fulfilled, where the land had time to rest and the people got back on the path of searching out the Creator, and that's when he let them come back. All right. Sorry about that.
Then Moshe came with Hoshea son of Nun, and spoke all the words of this song in the hearing of the people.
Okay, so Joshua, his original name was Hoshea, and it was changed by Moshe to Yehoshua, which means Jehovah is our salvation.
And when Moshe ended speaking all these words to all Yisrael, he said to them, set your heart on all the words with which I warn you today, so that you command your children to guard to do all the words of this Torah.
Yeah, and just a reminder, like the purpose of the prophets is not to just be future telling doom tellers. Like you're gonna get wiped out, yada yada yada. No, it's a cause and effect situation. If you stay connected to the creator, if you do what's right, nothing bad is going to happen to you. In fact, you're going to be prosperous. But if you go against the creator, start worshiping other deities and all that other stuff, he's got to get you out of the land because that land is for righteousness. And if you don't leave the land, he'll wipe you out in the area. Um, Sorry, I got a phone call. Sorry about that. So, yeah, sorry about that.
Okay. For it is
Lost my train of thought, but I think I got it there.
For it is not a worthless word for you, because it is your life, and by this word you prolong your days on the soil which you pass over the Yarden to possess.
There we go. Now we're back to what we were talking about. So if you stay connected to the creator, you'll prolong your days. You don't ever have to be kicked out. All you got to do is stay focused on the creator and not go after other deities and other worships, including worships of financial gain and stuff like that, 32:48.
And Jehovah spoke to Moshe that same day, saying, go up this mountain of the Abarim, Mount Nebo, which is in the land of Moab, which is opposite Jericho, and look at the land of Canaan, which I give to the children of Israel as a possession.
Okay, so Jericho is Jericho. Um, so yeah, they're fixing to cross over, but he's going to give Moshe a vision, like he's going to go to the top of the mountain and be able to see the entirety of the land that Israel's going to possess without refraction in the way. I'm just throwing that out there.
All right. And die on the mountain which you ascend, and be gathered to your people, as Aharon your brother died on Mount Hor, and was gathered to his people.
All right, so go up the mountain, look at the area that they're going to possess, and die. That'd be kind of hard for me to process, I think.
Yeah.
But he's like, he's 120. He's like, yeah, I'm tired anyway.
Because you trespassed against me in the midst of the children of Israel at the waters of Meribah Kadesh, in the wilderness of Sin, because you did not set me apart in the midst of the children of Israel. For you are to look at the land before you, but not enter there into the land which I am giving to the children of Israel.
Well, there you go. Of course, this is that striking of the rock that made him, not follow the instructions of Yah because of his frustration with the people. And then, of course, he blamed the people. This is all your fault. But yeah, this is the end of Moshe. So then there's a conflict of an argument, I guess you could say, a theological argument of, okay, well then who wrote 33 and 34, right? And some say that in the inspiration of Yah, he wrote 33 and 34. Some say that Joshua, Yehoshua took over to write 33 and 34. But regardless, it's included in the final book of Moshe, which is Deuteronomy, Devarim. So we have 2 chapters left, and that will be the end of the Torah group, and we will decide what we're going to do after that. So
Yeah?
I'll jump over into chat. Oh, good to see you, Crumb. We saw him last night at a bar playing music. Pretty good stuff.
Right on.
All right. Shout out to Joseph Osborne that came in before everybody else. Thomas Morgan, Rye Russ, Dr. Bass Ackwards, Aisling717, what's up, Cammy? John Keeley. Don't forget to don't follow Crumb. He said he needs to change his name to don't follow Crumb. Alex Javier, Jay, Rico's tinfoil sombrero, effed up world. Thomas Morgan, I think I already called him, but just in case. Liz the Iron Maiden, hey, good to see you.
Hey,
She
Liz.
said she's late again. Yeah, we're all late today. It's fine. Shemaya says hi, by the way. Let's see. Exposing Ma's tricks. And that's it for the names. Let's see if there's any questions or comments that I can see here. Yeah, a person showed some version of the Bible that talks about flat Earth, and I threw a chapter and verse in there that could also be translated as flat Earth. So, all right, it looks like that's it. It looks like there's no actual. Yep, that looks about it. Sorry for the long wait. I'm glad we got through it though. The next one should not be too difficult to do. So, like for instance, if you see like this highlight, that I'm if the share screen's still sharing, see this little yellow right here?
Yeah.
That means that word is yet to be translated. And you can see like, there's more translated than not,
Mm-hmm.
but it was the opposite on that last chapter. Like it was almost all yellow. It's crazy. So, yep. That's the process.
Awesome. It's cool. I've enjoyed doing these.
Shemaya Liz says hi again. Okay. I'm glad you enjoyed doing this, and I thank you very much. I mean, we'll probably have like, more of a talk on the last chapter, but I do appreciate you giving me the platform to sharing it with people that might not otherwise even, look at it or listen to it because and I understand why. Like if they get somebody who's too religious and it's like, rock throwing in glasses, houses and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm right. I'm the only one who's right. Nobody else can be right. And, I definitely don't say that. I say like, this is for me, this is the most confirmed document known to man. And I do my best to read it, understand it, apply it. And if you read it and you understand it differently, I would encourage you to use the original language and not use translations because they can get you all kinds of screwed up. And that was the point of this whole thing is like translations can be used to manipulate people. So
Yes,
that's why
that's a
we went through this
fact.
process. Thanks for reading the scriptures from Thomas Morgan. Yep. And if y'all are new and you haven't watched the first episode, I do encourage you to do that because it like the first couple of chapters is like because I spent like a year translating Genesis 1, there's so much in there, so many little nuggets that's like, wow, that like completely changes the entire narrative of the rest of the scripture. And if you have it's the same thing as the rock and the sand. If you have a sand foundation, the thing's going to fall apart. But if you have a solid foundation, like the foundation of the language, the foundation of the philosophies, the foundation of what it means to be a follower of the creator, then it's a completely different book. It changes everything to understand the foundation. So,
Absolutely.
alrighty.
All right. There's also a playlist on my channel for anybody who wants to go back and review any of the older episodes. It has
And
this same
mine
thumbnail.
is almost updated
Yeah, they're also on
on
Jack's
Just Jack.
channel, so it's cool.
Yeah, Just
So
Jack Flat Earth.
something happens to my channel, they'll be on Jack's channel, which is good.
Yep, yep. And I've downloaded them as well. And there might be a time in the future, you know, maybe when I'm 50 or something, I'll go through it and like, edit it and take out the bleeps because some people don't like the bleeps.
Yeah, yeah. But there's not
I
too
was
many.
looking I was looking for some software and it doesn't work very well. Like they'll get that eventually. They'll figure that out to where it'll search for them and bleep automatic. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's not too bad, but I know some people like they don't want their children to hear the bleep at all
Yeah, I hear
because
you.
they think it'll bleed in forever, which yeah. Um, all right.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for another episode of Anti-Religious Scripture Study. We always appreciate everybody who joins us on our live streams. And we will be back next week, probably.
Yes. Oh, I need to throw in something. It's kind of important, right? So I'm paying attention to the different testimonies in Israel about the spring and all that stuff. We had some crazy weather here in South Carolina, and Karen knows what I'm talking about, where
Mm-hmm.
we had like a hot, like 80-degree week,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden it dropped back down to the 40s. That's interesting. But in Israel, they're getting messed with less because they were still snowing when we were in 80-degree weather. Okay, so based on the first fruit offering that needed to be done in Israel, we will need a 13th month. Ergo, the new year will be starting on March 31st for the April Fools that, follow the creator's calendar, the
Mm-hmm.
April Fools like me. So just to let you know, we have a 13th month, so it's looking like March 31st will be the new year.
Cool. Interesting.
Alrighty then.
But do most years have 12 months, even if you go by the what
Yes.
you're doing?
Most years, it's kind of like, um, the 13th month is like third year, fourth year, fifth year sometimes.
Mm.
Sometimes it'll be like 12 months, 12, and then 13. So it's based on, what can be harvested and offered as the first fruit. And also, if you consider the, what do you call it? Not the equinox, but the other one. I can't think of what it's called.
Solstice.
Um, no, it's equilux, I think.
Oh, you mean not the equal night, equal day?
Right,
equal
right.
light.
Right. So that hasn't happened in Israel, right? So or it won't even have happened by the next new moon. So what I'm saying is like typically the new year starts after the equinox as well.
Mm. Hmm.
So that's another thing to consider. And the star rotation. There's a lot of stuff. I encourage anybody that wants to like do a lot of study on the different testimonies to go to, and forgive me, I didn't name the channel, but it's Abib of God, Abibofgod. They go through so like it's so methodical that like you can fall asleep reading one of their paragraphs. But if you're interested, there's a lot of stuff there.
Huh.
They work on like observing migration patterns, um, produce patterns, celestial patterns, all these different things. So,
Mm. Okay.
alrighty. Sorry to throw that back in there, but like, yeah, it's kind of important.
No, that's cool. Good. All right. Now we ready to wrap it up?
Yep.
All right.
Shabbat shalom. The earth is flat.
All right. Shabbat shalom, everyone. Have a restful day, and we will see you next week. Take care.
Bye bye.